Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Kraft, and I'm a well-known, no, I wouldn't say well-known, but I'm a person of this community. I've been here a while. I've been here for about almost more than 3 years now, give or take. And through those 3 years, I've seen a lot of changes into this game. And I just want to talk a little bit about how Dan's 1988, a really good hoster of ultra hardcore games in this community, posted a twit longer about his ideas on roller coastering, and what his ideas are not the conventional ideas of the average player in this community. And I kind of have a similar view set of him, but I don't have the exact same view set of him. And I just want to kind of express my view set of this, I wouldn't call it an epidemic, but this thing called roller coastering that we have in our community now. So what's roller coastering? Roller coastering is basically going at Y level 32, going down, going up, going down until you find a cave or you get what you want. And there's a lot of flaws for this for a couple reasons, but I'll get to that later. And I just want to start before I go any further is the meta of this game is always changing. Like, I've been here for 3 years now, and the quote-unquote meta of this game has always changed. It used to be super bow based. Let's take as minimal damage as possible, because that's kind of how this game works. We can't really heal. We don't have enough resources to heal. We need to make sure we take damage sparingly, so we would use a bow and hope to hit them and then not hit us. And it's kind of shifted ever since Badlion opened. I'm not going to blame Badlion or any other community for this, but ever since that started focusing like the kill-centric part of the community, which is a whole other topic I don't want to get into. But after that, and after 1.8 has kind of changed people's perspectives in caving. You know how the spawn rate's jacked up 15% in 1.8 to 1.7 comparatively, and now that we host almost all our games in 1.8, or generate most of our worlds in 1.8, we have more resources to work with, and thus we have a meta kind of shifting to a melee style, or a taking damage isn't as important because we're getting a stack of gold each game. We can cave efficiently and get a stack of gold each game, and that's how it wasn't before. There wasn't really any roller coastering ideas. It was really just, we have a cave, let's staircase for that cave, or let's staircase if we run out of the cave. But if we don't get one after our first down, okay, we'll just head up and go find a new cave. And that staircasing wasn't really, like, excessive staircasing wasn't really a problem. It was more the strip mining and the X-raying that was a problem. And I'm not saying those are not problems today. Those are just less or more common back then than the roller coastering was. And now, especially since hacking might be more common, I don't know. It could possibly be more common nowadays. Roller coastering and strip mining is much more of a feely, touchy issue, because X-rayers can blame, oh, I was roller coastering, I wasn't doing this, etc., etc. And yeah. So I have, let me pull up Dan's, where is it now? This twit longer of Dan's, we're hosting roller coasters, and much like this video, a lot of his opinions are opinions. They aren't fact, and they are super subjective, just like kind of how my talk is. I'm just trying to put another viewpoint on it. So, roller coasters. He kind of goes over how roller coasters are kind of just a form of strip mining. Like, if we open up this light map, basically start at level 32, this is gold, or the ability to get gold ore. You can dig down to about right here where the diamonds are, and then dig back up if you don't have a cave, and you can get ores this way. And that's the first problem about it, is that you can get ores from staircasing, and this is a problem of staircasing, and not just a problem of roller coastering, but this is a problem. And just highlighted, yeah, like one of the things about roller coastering is you can get ores from them, and that's not really fair if you're not putting yourself at risk for taking damage. And this is kind of the mindset of the older player, like Dan's and me kind of are. He's probably a lot older than me in the community, but it's just the idea of we're not putting ourselves in harm's way to try to get resources, which is wrong. And that's a I wouldn't say that's a bad or a good opinion. I'm just saying that's an opinion that can be backed up with these stats of, oh, you can get gold across this. And he went on to explain, like, this is why we don't allow strip mining, because we don't want to have this ability of people like putting themselves not in harm's way to try to get resources. So and then he kind of ended with some questions. If the cave ends, how do you find a new one? And he said you need to relocate. So this is the main topic that I felt like I needed to get into a lot, is ending of caves, and why going up and doing stuff might be bad, and why people might want to staircase for stuff. I know a lot of games I've played back in the day where I would get half iron from a cave. I would staircase down once, I wouldn't get anything. I might get like an iron sword out of my staircase or something, and then I'd go back up 30 minutes into the game, and there was a guy in full iron above me, and would like 3 or 4 shot me. And this is just because of a bad cave. And that is definitely a story to support roller coastering, because then that stuff would not happen. That kind of bad experiences wouldn't happen. But you also have to figure out, or you also have to take into account the idea of you're good, you're set off. You could go PvP if you want to, if you really wanted to. It's like 25 minutes in the game. You have your enchants, your diamond sword, whatever the heck you have. You feel like you're sufficient enough to go fight at that point, but you don't want to. You want to continue caving, which is fine. There's a lot of people that love to cave till meetup. I started being one of those people that just love to cave as much as possible because caving is just relaxing in comparison to that PvP aspect. But anyway, and they wouldn't want to go up on the surface. They would not want to spend the time to go up to the surface, run 30 chunks away, 300 blocks away, and dig back down and hope for a cave. That'd take way too much time. It'd be easier just to dig down, dig up, dig down, dig up until they hit a new cave, which is a good idea in theory. Hey, if I'm not getting ores from it, whatever, right, I'm just relocating that way. And that's definitely an idea, but we have to, like, it goes back to the ore scene, it goes back to everything. And then this question right here about Dan's allows pyramid staircasing. And he sums it up really well of like my idea of fixing roller coastering. He said, pyramid staircasing is mostly a waste of time. Roller coasters can go on forever until you find a cave, which is the main purpose of roller coastering, finding a cave, right? Staircases, pyramid staircases, you have to spend time to go up after you mine it down, and you just can't keep going forever. You have to mine in one direction, mine the other direction, maybe mine straight down. See if you get anything. If you can't, you just have to go up, relocate, and do that same thing somewhere else. And that's fine. I love that idea. And it just basically says you can go only a certain radius out. And that's the one thing I don't really like about it, is you can't go infinitely one way or another. And that's what roller coastering does. But still, I feel like roller coastering is kind of cheating system. You know, like some people might not like this mindset, this ideal system. But it seems like you're cheating the system. You're not spending any risk for the reward. You're just going down and staircasing up, down until you find another cave to go into. I mean, there's the risk of going into someone's cave by doing that, but really that's the only risk. And it's growing, and that risk is growing by the minute or by the day because of hosting problems, but not really problems, but hosting shifts. And I'm gonna actually show you something real quick before I talk about that. I generated the same world, one in 1.7, one in 1.8. This is the 1.7 version because there's no diorite, whatever this garbage-ite is. There's none of that, and this is the 1.8 version. So if we go around here, you can tell that this cave system is really not any different from this cave system. Like, there's no real difference in the system of caves. A lot of people think 1.8 changed cave generation. It very slightly changed cave generation purely because of this new ite ore. And other than that, the caves are basically similar. What's different about it is the ore spawn rates. So let me give you an example. There's 2 veins of gold right here in the 1.8 version. And I'm just going to switch over to the 1.7 version and go to that same point, if I can find it. Chords are a wonderful thing. 124, 273. Okay, so here's the same point in the cave on 1.7. So as you can tell, there's neither of these gold ores right here, but there's one around this corner, which I can note there is not one around the corner in here. So this is just a very small sample size. There's also one right here, by the way, which is not in this 1.7 version. But the point I'm trying to make is that 1.8 has more ores, and and it's not nothing to do with caves. Like 1.7 people would not like run out of cave. Compared to the 1.8 version, that's not it. So like the ore generation is the only thing that's similar. Like if I run around here for a while, the caves are like perfect in the sense of similarity and other stuff. Yeah, that similarity and just how they function. The only thing that changed are the ore rates. So that's that. Now, why is roller coastering? Why did roller coaster become a thing, and why is this becoming relevant to us now? So roller coastering started when the meta started to shift over to more of a melee. I don't care about taking damage, whatever you want to call it. It's different from 3 years ago where people would get 3 kills max instead of the 39 kill game I saw Smooth Maneuver have yesterday. But anyway, so that's kind of what's kickstarted it, and just better caving in general. People got better at caving. People got better at rushing through caves, getting their supplies, getting up quickly, and a lot of that has to do with servers. Not all servers, but some servers greatly decrease their mob spawn rate because they want to have a better fill. And it might not be because of that. It might not be because of the bigger. It might be because of the bigger fill and stuff is spread out more evenly around the players, as in hostile mobs and stuff. But in a really big game, you're not going to see many mobs, so you're not worried about taking a ton of damage to the point where you're going to die, because there's just not that many mobs in the game for you to worry about that, if that makes sense. And that's not on the hostings thing. That's on the host's bad job. The hosts aren't bad for doing this. It's because games are bigger now. 3 years ago, this community was like probably a tenth of the size as it was now. That's just an oddball guess. And so that's yeah. Bigger fills equals not a ton of mobs around you equals rushing through caves, better caves, that ore jacking rates of 1.8, etc. And also, it has come to my attention a while ago, and it might come to your attention too if you've been here long enough, that the usual time a game would last in 2013, 2014 was 90 plus minutes. And that's mostly because they were rather endurance games, or they were games in which it was like a 90-minute meetup, like recorded rounds nowadays, where everyone had enough time to get as much as they wanted and then go up and fight if they wanted to. A lot of people got bored after 45 minutes of caving, so they went up to fight 60 an hour in, and they would go like that. And I like that style better. That's just a personal thing, because I like killing someone and being able to cave again. That's just me. And then so shifting from that 90 minutes, I'm not pointing fingers at hosts saying, oh, these hosts are bad because they're hosting shorter games. Like 60-minute games are kind of the norm for FFAs now, mostly because by the end of an hour, everyone's rather geared up to as much as they want to be or over-geared. And then teams games are usually larger, but that's because you have to divvy out your stuff throughout the whole team. And the caving ideas is different in teams games now than it was later, but that's for another time. Anyway, the shorter games kind of lead to I need to be super efficient in these 45 minutes so I can get as much resources as I need in order for me to go and do what I need to do. So, this is when staircase or roller coastering comes in, or staircasing comes in. Like, I can staircase down, see if I can find a new cave. Well, if that doesn't work, what do I do? I don't really want to surface because I've already wasted 5 minutes on this roller coaster, or on this on this staircase. I didn't want to go back up the staircase and go back up to the surface and spend 20 minutes relocating. So I'm just going to continue going up and down and up and down until I find a cave. That means I can get a cave, I can get more resources, and I probably won't get caught while doing it. And I mean caught as in another player of the game comes up and backstabs you or sees you and fights you in a cave. So that being said, that's my view on it. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say thrash on this post, But there's a lot of varying viewpoints I want to acknowledge and kind of talk about. So one person was basically saying, I'm not going to name names, but one person basically said that roller coastering should be allowed in its fullest because it's way too annoying to go up and relocate. And that's a solid argument. It is kind of annoying to cave for 30 minutes, get full iron and nothing, and then okay, I have to go up, I have to relocate. By the time I'm in another cave, it's 10 minutes to meet up, and what the heck am I supposed to do now? At least in a team's game, you can go to a teammate's cave if you run out of cave in that scenario. But even then, that'll greatly decrease the efficiency of your team caving wise. And then soon after he said all of that, he said, and if it's so wrong, why does almost every host do it or allow it? And that's an interesting factoid. Like almost every single host allows roller coastering now. The only ones that I can think off the top of my head that don't is Dan's, who started this thing, and Sean. And Sean's starting to mold into a Dan's type hoster figure. And almost everyone else does it. So why is this important? This is important because really the mob mentality of it all. Everyone's doing it, so why don't I do it? And that can be powerful to new hosts. New hosts can look at a post of a really, really acclaimed host, like Season, not Sean Season, like Cute Shark Season, and Olympus, and what's the other one? Harvard. They all allow staircasing for the most part, and roller coastering and staircasing for the most part. And new hosts look to them and say, oh, they're doing it, why don't I do it, because that's how I get popular. And that's kind of the mindset of it. And a lot of people, and that's for the people that are neutral on the topic, people that also already play UHC, because they usually play UHC before they host UHC, they're like, I like this roller coastering idea a lot more than not allowing it, so I'm just going to allow it. And then there's that. So I don't remember where I pulled this off of, but someone was probably talking in that same thread, talking about strip mining and X-raying, and it was like, I'll pull it up right here. This is this one right here. He was talking about how he agrees in a way of strip mining not being allowed in games, and he's saying strip mining isn't allowed because of X-ray is using it as an excuse. And this can be called the same for anything: roller coasters, staircases, strip mines, all this jazz can be used for an X-rayer to exploit rules of the server to benefit them. So like, hey, I'm X-raying, let me press X, I see diamonds underneath me. So I'm going to go to a point where I can staircase down into those diamonds, and I can just say, oh, I'm staircasing. Don't put me on the UBL, because I'm staircasing, I'm not X-raying. And the avoiding mobs easy kind of goes back to my other point of you're kind of not putting yourself in risk. But that whole mindset, I think this came from an older UHC player that was on Twitter. And a lot of the mindset of the older community is like, I need to stretch my resources, I need to make sure I minimize damage so I can fully utilize my resources in battle. And then a really old ultra hardcore player said this about the strip mining rule, and how we were coming back to, the strip mining rule is really only a gentleman's agreement in Minecraft. In Season 3 of Minecraft, they were like, okay, no strip mines, because it's very boring footage to watch, to strip mine someone for hours. And that was probably a good precedent for them. It was like, okay, we want to entertain our viewers. This is not an SMP or a stream where we can strip mine and just talk about life. We kind of need to just play the game as it's intended. As it's intended to go down into caves, etc., etc. That's a voice crack, etc., etc., and mine ores through there. And I think that was a good precedent of disabling strip mining for that rule. But if you ask me, I think that rule is extended on. If you ask a Minecracker who was there, it's like, okay, we know strip mining shouldn't be allowed because it creates boring footage. But looking back at it, there's also that you can get diamonds from it really easily without killing or without taking damage to things, because especially back then, when they were taking damage to everything and anything, being able to avoid those mobs to get something good was probably the best thing they could do. So if you're reading ahead, I have possible fixes to this roller coaster debate. If people are kind of on the fence about it, and if they want to find a way to fix this, possibly, there's some options I thought of. This is not all the options. This is really the options I thought of in a span of 10 minutes sitting at my computer researching stuff. So the first one is what some servers already do, is if like ores have to be surrounded, or not surrounded by air, but at least touching one air block in order for them to spawn. This does a couple of things. This basically like disables you finding ores via strip mining or staircasing. And this is purely, you would purely staircase in this scenario to find a cave, not to find any ores. And this is really why people would staircase. The ores are kind of separate in like a goodie basket. And it would kind of stop X-rayers, but it wouldn't completely stop X-rays, because then they would just X-ray the caves. And then with that, you would still be able to allow roller coastering and strip mining. So that's what some servers do. I think Olympus does this. I might be wrong. I know there's a server that I played on recently that did this. But anyway, my second idea is to just not allow that roller coastering. That's not. We should be able to allow staircases, but not allow roller coastering. And this fixes like all the quote-unquote problems surrounding all of them. I am a little bit biased, but I'm trying to view this as an unbiased standpoint. So anyway, like it fixes the quote-unquote like problematic ideas of this, but most people like staircasing, and most people would rather not play a game that had them completely turned off altogether. So now it comes into my third point, which is what I think Sean has done in recent past, but I'm still not sure. I haven't put much research into other hosts, but I feel like this is the best way to meet both parties. So the real idea behind roller coasters is that we want to find a new cave without like not shielding ourselves, without exposing ourselves to the outside environment on the surface where people could be there that are better in shape to fight than you. So what can we do about mixing the two together, where we don't want people abusing the ores and finding good, like just finding caves just because they're around that level? We can just combine them together and say staircases and like excessive staircasing, that's a better word for it, is only allowed above a certain level. The lowest level you can go might be 32, which is where gold starts to spawn. So you don't get any beneficial ores unless you want iron, I guess. And then you can be able to find caves without them, or with them. Will you find more caves that are busts? Yes. But you need to balance exposure to losing time. So, like, hypothetical situation. I have my Lion. I might have enchants. I have enchants, but I want a cave. I want a cave because I have absolutely no gold, and I'm on like 4 hearts after killing somebody. So I'm like, okay, I need to go find a cave fast, but I don't really want to go to the surface, because me at 4 hearts without a bow, with enchants, is a scary combination, because people will target you like the plague because they want your enchants. So I don't want to expose myself to the surface. I want to like be able to get into a new cave without surfacing, and I can just strip mine or staircase by level 32, going no lower than 32, and I'll be able to find a cave. And if it's like a cave at 33 or 32, it'll go down and it'll expose some gold, or it might be a better cave. So that's my thoughts on this whole extravaganza. And I hope you guys like listen and are very courteous to what I'm saying. And I thank you guys a lot for making it this far in the video. There was a lot of just me sitting here and showing you my desktop, and I really appreciate it. If I know I'm probably gonna get a little bit of hate directed at my ideals just because that's how human nature works. People don't like when other people butt in and try to talk about their opinions like they're fact, which is what people might interpret this as. But I'm so glad I did it, and I'm glad you guys watched all the way through. And yeah, that's staircasing in a nutshell.